where we explore principles, practices, and perspectives of effective leadership.
Good morning, God's people, and welcome to the Leadership Forum right here at FM Listen and Live. My name is Grace Mutiso, and Happy New Week. Can you imagine this is the last week of January? It's done. January 2025, gone. And in a being Feb, a beautiful month. Allow me to invite Dr. David Oginde joining us every alternate Monday for the Leadership Forum. Good morning, Bishop.
Good morning.
You're doing well?
Very well, thank you.
Imagine January is done.
Yes, the year 2025 is running very quickly, interestingly. Very quickly. Very fast.
Are you on course on what you plan to do?
By the way, I don't do resolutions, so
you don't, Kabisa, nothing.
I don't do New Year resolutions. I plan my life differently. Yes, and so far it's starting well.
Okay.
Yes.
Does it mean resolutions don't work?
Not quite. I think different people have different ways of running their lives. Some of us do resolutions. Some of us do planning. Some of us just live life as it comes.
Niko tu.
Mungu ndiye anajua.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm in the group that I plan my life, which is not pegged on New Year. Yes.
I like that.
Yes.
It's not that when a New Year comes is when you go sit, think about what you want to do.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good way of looking at it. Sour. But you're keeping well?
Very well, yes. I'm keeping very well.
Okay.
By God's grace.
Amen.
Last year was a very, very busy, very eventful year for me. So I have enjoyed the beginning of this year, though it has started on a very, very busy note also. I think that's why my January has just kind of disappeared. Yes.
Okay.
Unlike I had hoped.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. I'll be coming back to you to let us know something new will be beginning on the Leadership Forum. But before that, allow me to let you know, our dear listener and those following us on Hope TV, that this Sunday, you need to join us. You know, it's going to be the 2nd of February, 2025, because we have begun our Rafikim Soul Church visit. And what better way than being in Kariobangi? Kariobangi people, we are coming this Sunday. So we will be at Throne of Grace Worship Church. That is from 10 a.m. all the way to 1 a.m. for this service. And it's going to be an amazing time for us to meet with you, all of you who listen to us, you follow us online, and you also watch our TV station. We are looking forward to meeting you, handshaking, praying, laughing, and just having a great time in the presence of the Lord. So remember, this Sunday, all roads lead to Throne of Grace Worship Center in Kariobangi for the Rafikim Soul Church visit. All Hope Media crew will be there. You know, you listen to us, you watch us, you'll be meeting us in person. And we also look forward to meeting you in person. And I know maybe you're wondering, Grace, what happens? We'd really love you to visit our church. It's very simple. Email us at customerexperience@hopefm.org. That is customerexperience@hopefm.org. You can also call us on 0116. That is 0116 212 723. 0116 212 723. And of course, we'll be glad to hear from you. Friends of Hope, you keep hope alive. Tukutane Kariobangi. Bishop, you'll be with us in Kariobangi?
I was just wondering, when are you coming to our church?
Which is your church? Which one? You've not invited us. If you don't invite us, Bishop won't come.
Oh, okay. We will invite you.
Please.
Yeah.
Through you, I'm looking forward. I know my team is just listening.
Yes, you should come to Sitam Valley Road.
We've been to Valley Road, Bishop.
When?
If that's your church, we've been to Valley Road. But please invite us again.
Maybe I was not there when you
were
came.
not there. We were there last year.
Okay.
Yes.
A new year, new things.
Good.
Yes.
So team, Shika Bishop akitoka hapo, he
Yeah.
plans to invite us to sit up.
We are even getting a new pastor. So
Wow.
so please
Yes, yes.
visit us. We can
Yes.
also be Rafikim. So
Good. But you know what? You're a great Rafikim. So Sitam Valley Road is our mom.
okay.
And my colleagues love to say, ni landlord.
Landlord.
But
Exactly.
yes, welcome to Sitam Valley Road. Yes,
Amen.
this year,
Thank you.
welcome to
Thank
Sitam
you.
Valley Road. Thank you, Bishop, for
Okay.
that. So let's get to the Leadership Forum. And
Yes.
you know, last time we talked about failure, a very interesting topic that brought in so many questions. We couldn't tackle all of them. We promise our listeners will be sampling them on the question of the day, so stand by for that. But we begin something new today.
Yes.
Yes.
We want to discuss something that I believe is in the minds of many people right now. President Trump.
Oh, yes. He won.
Took over leadership just
Yes.
last week.
Yes.
Last week. And within that 1 week, he has shaken the world. And so from just a leadership perspective, the whole thing of what is he actually doing and how do we, where do we place that in leadership studies?
Yes.
And I just thought we could discuss that a bit in light of, we were talking about failures in leadership.
Yes.
And we looked at several characteristics of a leader, but we are looking also at what happens when a leader fails in any of these areas. And interestingly, what we are going to discuss today was going to be the last one we were going to discuss in that list of the deaths leaders die.
Yes.
And so we'll look at it slightly different. When we talked about the deaths leaders die, we were looking from the negative side.
Yes.
What happens if this thing fails in your leadership? But today we look at it from a different perspective, but it fits in with the kind of leadership that Trump is providing at this, or practicing, let me say practicing, or exercising in his first few days in office, that is causing quite a ripple across the world.
Yes.
Actually. We talked about courage in our last discussion,
Yes.
not last session, when we were doing that series on deaths.
Yes.
We talked about courage, was the last one. Before that, we talked about hope. And in discussing courage, we looked at several things that a courageous leader does. What we are going to look at today, and the kind of leadership that Trump has displayed, some people would look at it as courageous leadership, but it is not quite. It has a bit of courage in it, because if you consider some of the pronouncements that he's making, say, for example, against Russia,
Yes.
or about Russia, what he has pronounced about Hamas and Israel and the war, China is really tackling the big guys,
Yes.
and literally has shut down all the aid that the US gives to the world, and that is affecting everybody across the globe, where US aid has been supporting various programs and projects. So what kind of leadership would you categorize that as? And this is an aspect of what we call leadership strength.
Yes.
Leadership strength. Leadership strength encompasses qualities like the ones we are seeing in Trump. One of them is resilience. Vision, decisiveness, and a bit of emotional intelligence that a leader displays in some sometimes very difficult situations. When you talk about resilience, for example, the kind of what Trump has gone through in his campaigns.
Yes.
And before that, he was indicted, he was taken to court on various counts. A ruling was made while he was actually on the campaign trail, and one just after he was elected. And in all these things, no one would have imagined that he would come through and come to the point where he actually wins an election. So it requires a person or a leader of great resilience for you to triumph over all those obstacles and get yourself to the place where he has got himself. Many people would have crumbled under just the weight of what was going. I remember I was in the US about 2 or 3 years ago when an inquiry was being done on what happened on January 6th, the 2020, 21? Yeah, it was. Yeah. And just listening to some of the things that were being said, and you're just like, oh my God, this guy is finished. Because all the evidences and testimonies and witnesses who were speaking were actually people from his own camp, people from his own party, people from his own office, some of the people who worked very closely with him. And they were saying, we told him this and we tried this, and he just went ahead. And so it was like, it is not the other people who you would call opponents who are testifying against him. It was people, there were people who are actually worked very, very closely with him. And ordinarily you would sit there and say, the guy is finished. But he has shown a sense of resilience that has got him to this position. Resilience is that ability of a leader to overcome setbacks, overcome obstacles, overcome crisis in their pathway, and to emerge victorious and to lead the team into victory.
Yes.
It is not many of us as leaders who are capable of doing that. Many of us, when we go through adversity, when we go through setbacks, when obstacles are put on our way, we often sometimes just give up and say, it's not worth it.
It's not a matter of life and death.
It's not a matter of life and death.
Yeah.
We have seen a lot of resignations from Europe, especially, as you're aware. Many prime ministers, presidents, and ministers in government who have resigned for one reason or another because things were just not going their way. Now, there's the balance between standing up to challenges and just considering that the best thing is to quit, is to leave at this point. How do you balance that as a leader so that you know when to quit and you know when to stand? It requires a very interesting kind of mind that would distinguish between the need to give in or give up and the need to stand and continue. That requires leadership strength. It requires resilience. It requires a person who has that capacity and tenacity that never says die, you know, like a battery that we know.
Yeah.
So when you look at the Trump situation, you can say that yes, he's a leader who has that tenacity. the capacity to remain strong and to push on against all odds and emerge victorious in that situation. Resilience also requires a sense of adaptability. You are adaptable to the situation as it arises.
Yes.
This in science we talk about malleability. When an object is malleable, it means it can be shaped into any shape, any mold, any form, and it will take that shape and form. And malleability is very important in leadership. Adaptability is what we call it. That you are able to adapt to any given situation that comes in your way so that you can survive that situation. Men and women who confront trouble or challenges or obstacles head on sometimes get crushed.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it can come with such force. But people who are wise, they don't confront things head on. They know how to navigate the storms and how to navigate the waves so that they ride the wave instead of the wave riding them, into destruction.
Yes.
And resilient leaders have that capacity to know how to face adversity, how to face challenges, how to face obstacles, and emerge strong out of them. And when we talk about leadership strength, that is part of it.
Yes.
Leadership strength has that capacity for malleability, that capacity for going against all odds and emerging victorious even in times of difficulties, opposition, and trouble. And so when you look at the Trump situation, you see that kind of displayed in the kind of things that he's doing and how he has merged out of those obstacles that were so many on his path.
Yes.
For almost 4 years, when he was out there during President Biden's time. And those people who are not for him, as it were, or just casual observers would have said, no hope, no hope. Just wind up and go home. But now he is literally becoming the president of the world. So resilience and perseverance is one of the characteristics of the strength of a leader or leadership strength, which is often displayed in times of crisis or difficulties. The other attribute of leadership strength is vision. Vision and direction. Leadership strength is displayed through leaders who are very clear in their minds what they want and are rarely diverted by any other thing. Vision is not an easy thing to maintain. Clouds can come and completely block your vision so that you cannot see where you are going. Fog and mist are very good at blocking vision. You are driving on your way to Nakuru and you come to Limuru, Kinungi, and you can hardly see a few meters ahead of you because fog and mist have come and blurred your vision. So you cannot see far. And sometimes you cannot drive very fast because you are not able to see. Now, leadership strength helps leaders or describes leaders who are very clear, very focused, in spite of what fog or mist comes their way.
Yes.
They don't get distracted. They don't get dissuaded. They know what they want and they go for it. And there's a sense in which you see that in President Trump. Making America great again is his vision.
And America first.
America first.
Yes.
That is his vision. And irrespective of what anybody else will say or do, it seems, at least as of now, that he is determined to do that. And it doesn't matter who is saying what. It doesn't matter, there was fear, for example, when the Ukraine war started. And I think we discussed it here in those early days. And my thinking was almost like Trump now. At that time, if you remember, I said, Europe has let us down. The superpowers have really let us down because there was this fear that if they confront Putin, he could unleash nuclear weapons on the rest of the world, and we could end up with the Third World War. And that is what allowed Putin to actually do what he has done in Ukraine. In his mind, I imagine that Ukraine was such a small thing that he was just going to overrun in a week and it's done. It has now several years and it is still going on. So even him, he has been surprised. But Trump has come out to say, we are stopping this war. In fact, he told Putin to stop those jokes. Literally. He called it a ridiculous war.
Yes.
Stop this ridiculous war. Or we are going to hit you very hard, with all kinds of sanctions and so on and so forth. And of course, we do know that him and Putin have been friends.
Yes.
So they can talk. You don't know how much of it is real and how much of it may not be real. But it shows the willingness to do things that are not ordinary.
Yes.
And China and other places where he's saying America is going to be the first. He's even naming the Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America, and wants to take back Panama and so on. When you see those kinds of things, it gives you the impression of a person who has clarity of what they want. Leadership strength is demonstrated through that kind of clarity.
Yes.
Now, let me just pause here to put a disclaimer. By saying this, we are not saying that he's right or wrong. But we are saying that when a leader is unsure of themselves, when fog and cloud come, sometimes they get derailed in their vision.
Yes.
So that they are not sure of where they are going. And there's a wavering in terms of what should I do in this situation. Leadership strength actually says that you do not waver in spite of what is happening, and you remain focused on what you want to achieve.
Yes.
So now, whether that is what you want to achieve is right or wrong is a different discussion. We're talking about that whole issue of focus, the whole issue of, do I know where I want to go, and am I committed to going in that direction?
Yes.
Against all odds. So vision and direction for a leader is so critical, and we have talked about vision here many times.
Yes.
But today we are talking about the commitment to vision,
Yes.
the clarity of that vision, and the desire to achieve it against all odds. Dreams are for all of us, and many of us have had dreams from the days of our childhood. Who would you like to be when you grow up? I don't think of any child who did not say what they would want to be. Of course, at that tender age, it is your heroes who can be your father, your mother, your teacher, the police officer. Those were very common.
The village chief.
The village chief. Those were very common. These days, it is the icons on social media and on the global platform. Those are the people they want to be. But now, how many people actually pursue those visions to the end? How much more for those of us who get into positions of leadership and you have this consuming desire, let me call it so, of what you would want to be or what you would want to see. And as you get into that space, you find that things are not the way you thought they should be, and therefore your vision begins to get blurred.
Yeah.
Your vision begins to die, which we talked about, by the way, as one of our deaths. So you find that vision, you begin to adjust it. You know, the strength in leadership is the capacity of a leader to remain focused on their vision.
Yes.
That is what we call strength in leadership. It's something beyond courage. It's something, so you are not acting just on courage, but strength has something to do with tenacity, the capacity to stay on and to hang on and keep going against all odds. So it then clears the pathway for your team members to be able to walk on a clear pathway. What happens when a leader has clarity of mind is that it attracts followers.
Yes.
It encourages, inspires those people you're working with, so that because they can see that even though things are not working or seem not to be working or seem not to be very favorable, the leader seems not to be worried. And that gives them hope. This gives them courage. That gives them that desire to follow you, even against all odds.
Yes.
And that's how great leaders who have leadership strength are able to rally people behind their vision. And you find many, many people, therefore, join in that in order for them to realize what needs to be done. Let me pause there, just in case you want to comment.
No, there is no comment from my side for now, but I invite you, our listener and our viewer, if you have any question or comment, get in touch with us. Our WhatsApp line is 0717 400 555. That is 0717 400 555. You can drop there your question or comment. We'll be getting to it in the next hour. You can also talk to us at Top FM Live and at Top TV Kenya. That's our social media platforms. By the way, we are live on YouTube and Facebook. Go there, follow us, subscribe, and then enjoy the Leadership Forum this morning. Yeah, so we can pick it up from there, Bishop.
Thank you. Leadership strength, how it manifests in our leadership. Like I say, there are several ways. One that I've alluded to that we could also pick on is the whole issue of crisis management.
Yes.
Of leading in crisis. When we talk about fog and mist, those are things that sometimes we did not anticipate.
Yes.
Like I said, those of us who travel the Naivasha road, where this is very common, you had even timed yourself. You have given us time. I'm going to Nakuru or I'm going to Naivasha, and allowed myself so much time because I know the road situation. I should be there. Then you get to Kinungi, you get to Limuru, and mist. You can hardly do 30 kilometers per hour. And your whole plan, you can see it going into disarray.
Yes.
Now, in leadership, those kinds of things happen. where you had a strategic plan, you had a program that you are following, you had projects that you are pursuing. There are several things that you are working on, and everything seemed to be working well until you hit this fog and mist in your journey, and you are thrown into disarray because you did not expect it. It was not expected. The ones that are expected, one can build in contingency measures. And normally, a good plan should build in contingency measures for things that are anticipated. But those things that come that were not anticipated, then it means you did not even have a contingency measure.
Yes.
It was not built into your plan. And so it suddenly comes upon you, and you are in this situation where issues have come up, things have happened, a crisis has arisen. What is going to keep you in that situation is leadership strength.
Yes.
It is related to resilience, but is slightly different because resilience is that ability to stay, the staying power in that kind of a situation. Leadership in crisis has to do with what you do, how you get yourself out of that situation.
Yes.
So how do I get myself out of a situation of crisis? That is what leadership in crisis is all about, or crisis management. So strength in leadership helps, first of all, to give you composure. The reason that many times we do not navigate crisis very well is what we call panic.
Yes.
When we panic in a situation of crisis, many times we do the wrong thing. Sometimes we make the wrong decisions. Sometimes we take the wrong turn.
Yes.
You know, you may just say, I think let's not go through let's find an alternative route.
Yes.
So you take off onto an alternative route, and then you find
it is worse.
It is worse.
Or very long.
Or very long. And so you get into a situation. By the time you get there, you find that the people who went through that mist and fog actually got there because it was just for a short distance.
Yes.
Yeah, which of course you didn't know. So sometimes when we panic, we make wrong decisions. And a leader must not give themselves to panic. So it requires leadership strength for you not to panic and to remain calm in that situation. I was watching a very interesting piece on one of our TV stations, and it was talking about what to do if you meet a hyena. I don't know whether you watched it. It
sounds funny.
Was it on Friday or Saturday? It was on one of our TV channels. And all the things that they were saying, I was saying, my friend, impossible. Like remain calm. Look at the hyena on the face. Don't run away. Confront it, show that you are strong. If it laughs, laugh with it. I was just like, who will ever do such kind of things? But this was advice from the KWS, the experts who are saying if you run, the hyena thinks that you are afraid, and hyenas like fearful things or people. So it will run after you and bite you and eat you up. So the idea is stand strong and show you are not afraid and so on. I used to hear that when I was growing up. Our place was very bushy, very, very bushy. And my father, where we had a shop, was like about seven to 8 kilometers away from our home. So they had to walk that distance every morning and every evening. And evenings were very tricky because there were hyenas and there were leopards in those days. So I used to hear actually those kinds of advices being given. If you meet a hyena, don't run, stamp your foot, and it will run away. And of course, I was too young to even imagine that I can meet a hyena. But now hearing it in older age, where they're saying, show yourself strong, be a man. I just thought it was so interesting. But this is the kind of thing that actually is being called for. It requires that strength from within to be able to confront a crisis situation and remain and retain your composure. I think I've used this illustration here before when we were talking about crisis, leadership in crisis. And this was a time when I was flying in a very small plane. I don't know whether we talked about it with you.
Maybe with Wamboi.
Maybe with Wamboi.
Yes.
It's several years back, but we were flying to Lodwar on a chartered flight. Actually, it was not Lodwar, it was Lengalani. We were going to visit our mission station. So it was a chartered flight, one of these small planes, 5 passengers, So I was seated right next to the pilot. I was like the co-pilot. Now, the tiny planes don't go very high up. And so we were not very high up. And it was on a very, very clear day. No clouds, nothing. Completely clear. And one would imagine that on such a day, you would have a very smooth flight. But to the contrary, there was turbulence. And so this little thing kept jumping up and down and sideways. And it's like the wind is taking us this way. And, it was a scary thing. The scariest thing is that because you are not too far away, you can see the ground. When you are flying very high up, you are above the clouds.
Yes.
So you have the concept of how far you will fall is not there.
Yeah.
But here we were high enough to be very high enough. And yet you can see if anything happens, that's where I'm going.
Okay.
It's like being in a very deep sea. So it was very scary. I can see you are looking at me because you want to do news.
Yes.
I'll
really
hold the thought right there.
Right there. That's a good place to keep us in suspense, Bishop. We want to know, did you fall? What happened?
If I fell, I wouldn't be here today.
No, Bishop. Let's catch up with the news. We'll be right back. And if you have any questions, talk to us on our WhatsApp line 0717 400 555.
Hope FM. It's now 12 p.m.
Listen and live.
A revival is breaking out. Voice of hope in the air.
Hope FM, listen and
read. News on the go with Melissa Odur.
President William Ruto will chair a crucial heads of state meeting dubbed the Bureau Retreat on African Union Institutional Reforms, aiming to focus on a myriad of reforms that the African Union seeks. Presidents are among them Tai Aseke of Ethiopia, Azali Ousmani of Comoros, Faure Nagsigbe of Togo, John Mahama of Ghana, Yao Laurencio of Angola, and Umaru Sisako of Guinea-Bissau are expected in attendance in the meeting at State House, Nairobi. Communication from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs says the retreat is a crucial platform for fostering political will and consensus on the AU reform agenda, which aims to enhance the institutional capacity, governance, and financial stability to realize the vision of the African Union. The president has appointed 9 new members to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission selection panel and revoked the initial Gazette notice. The new list, the new list has of those who have been appointed include Professor Adam Solo, Ambassador Koki Muli, Fatuma Saman, Dr. Nelson Makanda, others are Linda Kiome, Nicodemus Bore, Ivan Smisati, Caroline Kituku, and Andrew Kepkoech Tanui. Speaking during their swearing in at the Supreme Court in Nairobi, Chief Justice Martha Koome urged the new team to pick men and women of integrity who will inspire trust and confidence in the electoral body.
The future of our democracy depends on the integrity of the men and women you select to lead the IEBC. The commissioners you appoint must be individuals of untainted credibility, committed to independence, impartiality, and the principles enshrined in our Constitution. The IEBC is not just another government agency. It is not just another constitutional commission. It is the custodian of our electoral integrity, and its composition must reflect the highest standards of professionalism and credibility.
Koome has pointed out that the absence of a duly constituted IEBC has denied some constituencies and wards their fundamental right to representation in the National Assembly and county assemblies, pointing out that this is a democratic disruption. On his part, National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula has urged the selection panel to expedite and conclude the recruitment process of the IEBC commissioners at the earliest available opportunity according to the law, noting that this is a matter of huge national importance. KCB Bank Kenya has collaborated with MasterCard to launch Kenya's only multi-currency prepaid card that supports 11 hard currencies. The innovative solution is designed to simplify international transactions for customers by enabling seamless spending across various destinations. The card supports an extensive range of currencies, including the Kenyan shilling, the US dollar, the British pound, the pound sterling, the euro, the Swiss franc, the Australian dollar, Chinese yuan, among others. Angela Murigi, the Director for Digital Financial Services at the KCB Bank, noted that the card is tailored to meet the diverse needs of students, athletes, online shoppers, businesses, and corporates, and offers a cost-effective method of managing international transactions by reducing high transaction fees and enhancing convenience for frequent travelers and global spenders. And about 50 survivors of the Auschwitz II Birkenau camp have returned to SAT this morning as the world remembers the day the Nazi Germany's biggest extermination camp was finally liberated on the 27th of January 1945. Polish President Andrzej Duda is leading the commemoration event and laying ceremony at the wall where thousands of prisoners were executed and later under an enormous white tent that covers a death gate that marks the entrance to the Birkenau death camp, where only 7,000 prisoners remained at the three big sites that made up the Auschwitz when the Soviets liberated the camp complex. King, queens, and presidents and prime ministers are taking part in today's commemoration in impressive numbers, but the Polish organizers have made it clear that they want to focus on the dwindling number of survivors. They walked up to the wall of death in Auschwitz I, where hundreds were executed by firing squad, and laid candles and wreaths at its base. More news at 1 p.m.
News on the go, keeping you up to speed with the latest news.
Rafiki soul is a promise of our end that reaches and goes beyond watangaza tumaini kote.
Hope TV is where you look and live, with an excellent selection of the best Christian programming consisting of local and international content of inspirational stories, talk shows, Bible commentary, youth, health shows, children entertainment, contemporary gospel music, extended times of worship, live broadcast, news, movies, drama, Christian ministry programs, and so much more. Hope TV is another quality service from Christ is the Answer Ministries, with over 45% of authentic and credible local content every week. Hope TV is a sister station to Hope FM, Kenya's leading Christian radio station, with footprints across the country. Tune in to Hope TV, where you look and live.
Rafiki soul is the promise of a hand that reaches and goes beyond what angaza tumaini kote. I'm forever grateful. Ninashukuru ukarimu, ukarimu. I'm forever grateful. Ninashukuru ukarimu, ukarimu. Rafiki soul is a promise of a hand that reaches and goes beyond what angaza tumaini kote. I'm forever grateful. Ninashukuru ukarimu, ukarimu. I'm forever grateful. Ninashukuru ukarimu, ukarimu. Rafiki msoul.
Friends of Hope, keeping hope alive.
In a world where men often walk alone, who do they turn to for answers? Being male is a matter of birth, but being a man is a matter of choice. This is the dawn of something phenomenal. Fathers, sons, brothers, from the daily grind to the battles within. This is where real stories are told. A place where the silent struggles are given a voice, where the unspoken truths are laid bare. No holds barred. Coming to Hope TV, Hope FM, and online platforms. Premiering on 7th February 2025, every Friday, 7 to 8 p.m. Facilitated by Reverend Jesse Moore. Hosted by George Gishiru and Henry Mutavi.
Let me also say this, maybe to men.
Yeah.
Women are great money managers. They're actually better than men.
Yeah. I should not let my wife know how much I bring.
It affects our relationships big time just because we are not open.
Those things are killing men.
Brace yourself. This is Men on Record. It's more than just talk. It's a man thing.
Psalm 84 verse 4 says, "Blessed are those that abide, that dwell in the house of God." The blessing is on those that dwell, those that abide. They have made the house of God their abode.
The kingdom of God is already with us in the present time we are in, but it will also be fully realized at the end of the age. But the kingdom has been prepared by God.
On Hope Devotion every Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Only on Hope TV, where you look and live.
The Asian community in Kenya has been nationally recognized as the 44th tribe of the people of this great nation.
For me, God is real in Christianity. I talk to Him, He talks to me. I fail, He forgives me.
When I first read the first book of Genesis, it gave me an orderly sense of accounts of creation. Day 1 is what he does. Day 2, he creates this. Day 3.
Every third Thursday of the month, we bring you Asia Testify,
where we will be listening to life-transforming stories of Asian believers who have walked with the Lord. Only here on Hope TV. Look and live.
I've actually been trying to find a balance. It's been really tough and hectic, but everyone says once you get a hang of it, it becomes better, and I don't know, but I'm hoping to find a balance soon because it's really been hectic. But you've been in the job industry for a long time, so I think you would know better. Cindy.
Huh? What time is it? I need to catch up on Leadership Forum. Did they have a radio here? Never mind. I brought my own.
No way. You can't be serious. Wait, why do you have a radio and you can just catch up with the shows on Hope FM podcast?
Really? Even Meet of the One?
Yeah. I mean, you can find them on whatever platform, name it. AfriPods, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you name it.
But I'm not subscribed on any of them.
So no worries. You can just check out the latest episodes on hopemediakenya.org.
You can now listen to select Hope FM programs on your favorite podcast streaming platform or directly on our website, www.hopemediakenya.org. Listen and live. Welcome to the world of Hope Media, a media unit of Christ is the Answer Ministries that is committed to spreading the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ through the transformative power of media. Hope Media is dedicated to utilizing various forms of media to spread the message of hope, love, and redemption to all people around the world. Hope Media consists of various units that work together to achieve this goal. These units include Hope FM. Hope FM is your #1 Christian radio station offering you discussions on current day-to-day issues, inspiring music, life-changing sermons, and news updates, broadcasting 80% in English and 20% in Swahili, with listenership of over 12 million every month. Hope TV. Hope TV programming is designed to inspire, educate, and challenge the viewer with wholesome content to reach various demographic groups, children, youth, and adults, both male and female, with viewership of over 24 million every month. Hope Recording Studios. Hope Recording Studios is a state-of-the-art recording facility that offers high-quality recording, mixing, and mastering services. It is designed to meet the needs of musicians, artists, and other creative professionals who require top-notch recording facilities. Hope Creative. At Hope Creatives, we believe that inspiring graphic design work doesn't just happen. It takes the right people with wild, out-of-the-box ideas committed to the same ideals, working together to make it happen. We listen, we learn, we brand. Hope Digital. Hope Digital is a creative digital unit within Hope Media. We are driven by a passion to creatively express ourselves while influencing you with the same creative energy in online spaces and beyond. At Hope Media, we believe that media can be a powerful tool for spreading the message of hope as well as grow your business through advertisements, and we do this with excellence. For more information regarding our services, please visit www.hopemediakenya.org or call us on 0709 861 180. Hope Media. We keep hope alive.
I like giving this analogy of right now in the studio. If I choose to say, you guys are doing an awesome job, I can buy you each breakfast, isn't it? Let's say worth 1,000 bob. This is where you say amen. Huh?
Hallelujah.
And you, the crew, the camera crew, and then we leave this place and I forget about it. But probably, let me use the cameraman as an example. Let's say the salary was supposed to come in today, but it didn't come in. So he gets home, and then you know what normally happens when he trains, it pours. So he doesn't have anything on his mobile or cash. Then the tokens do that thing. So there are no tokens, so he's in a blackout. And at that particular point, I remember I was supposed to send 1,000 to him, and he receives my 1,000. That is 1,000. Now it looks like a miracle, isn't it? But then we have you, probably you're liquid. You're not relying on your salary.
Yeah.
So on your M-Pesa, you have like 70,000.
Yes.
And then I send you 1,000. It's the same amount that I sent him. But can you tell one of it will come in and you may not even notice?
It's true.
Isn't it?
Very true.
But it's the same amount. So I keep telling people we need to come to a level whereby we are respecting. Even if you're earning 100 bob, don't think that money is too small. Cumulatively, that's 500 a week. So probably that's the amount of tokens you use. Are we together? So you cannot despise the small amount. The best way they will make sense is if you can allocate them to a recurrent expense, like what we are talking about, your airtime, okay, your water bill. Do even those two small prepayments. They will help.
Financial Fitness, Mondays at 8 a.m. on Hope TV. Thank you for tuning in to Hope TV, your go-to channel for hope, inspiration, education, and wholesome entertainment. At Hope TV, we are committed to knowing God and making Him known through powerful media content. We truly value you and are dedicated.
Be sampling some of your questions and comments. Keep them coming. Our WhatsApp line is 0717 400 555, or you can talk to us at Hope FM Live or Hope TV Kenya. Allow me to bring back Bishop. You're giving us a story of this chartered plane.
Oh, now the oomph
So what-
has gone.
I say, have leadership strength, Bishop.
No, I was trying to illustrate how leading in crisis,
Yes.
and crisis management, and how significant it is. So I was giving you this story of my flight on a chartered plane, a very small chartered plane, 5-seater.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very, very tiny. So I was saying that in a big plane, you actually fly above the clouds. So you do not have the concept of how far from Earth you are.
Yes.
In this small chartered plane, you are very far, but you can see Earth. You can see the ground.
Yes.
So it's like being in a very tall building, but now multiply that several times, much, much taller, and you can see down there.
Yes.
So it was a very clear day, no clouds. The sun was shining very well. And your imagination is that this should give you a very smooth ride.
Yes.
But contrary, there was very strong winds and turbulence. So the plane, being as small as it is, we would be pushed, we'll go up, come down, and it is very scary.
Yes.
At least for me, it was. I have flown many times, but I hadn't been into such a small plane and in such a situation. So it was very scary. And I'm sitting right there next to the pilot. And I was just thinking, if this thing collapses, if this thing goes down, I just imagined what could happen. That's where we are going, and there's no hope.
Yeah.
There's no hope. So while I was struggling with my own sense of fear and anxiety at this situation, something happened. I looked at the pilot, and the man was so calm. It's like nothing is happening. He's just holding, I don't know whether it's called a steering because it's not a steering wheel. It is just this bar that they hold that looks like the one for a bicycle. So, and he's very calm, as if nothing is happening. We go up and he's just okay. We go down, we are pushed sideways and he's just okay. And just by looking at him, my fears went. Because I thought to myself, this person has flown this plane many times. And the reason he is calm is that he knows this is normal and nothing is going to happen. So my anxiety, my fears just disappeared just by looking at him and how calm he was. And I think that is what leadership in crisis does. Because when there's a crisis, people look at the leader to see how are they reacting to that situation. How are they reacting to this situation? If they are they're panicky and they are like, oh my goodness, now what do we do here? Oh, and especially if people are coming to you and you're saying, even me, I don't know what to do. Then the crisis can get out of hand and it causes a lot of anxiety among team members and other stakeholders. So the calmness and composure of a leader in a crisis situation is so very important. And you can only be composed and you can only be calm when you have that inner strength.
Yes.
That you know, even if you're afraid, you are still holding there, believing that it is going to be okay.
Yes.
And you can stabilize your people. And when they look at you, they think, Chris looks okay, boss looks okay, then it must be okay.
Yes.
Even if you're giving instructions, orders, things that could be done, it is with a sense of confidence and calmness. And that is what helps members, therefore, to gain confidence, also courage, in order for them to move and act and operate well in that crisis situation. But you cannot be calm if you don't have that inner strength. You cannot be calm if you don't have that inner confidence that things are going to be okay. And that's what I learned from this pilot.
Yes.
That he was not bothered with the turbulence that we are going through. It was like it was not even happening, for him.
It's normal.
Yeah, it was so normal. I think we had 3 of us in that plane, 3 or 4 of us in that plane. And the other people at the back, I know they were also going through the turbulence, but I don't think they could see. Because for me, I was at the front.
Yes.
When you're at the front, you can see ahead, you can see sideways, you can see down. So perhaps the impact was even greater for me.
Yeah.
But watching the captain just gave me confidence that it's going to be okay. And it was okay.
Yes. We landed well.
We landed well.
Yes.
Well, not too well, but we landed well. We had to land twice.
Oh my.
Or twice or 3 times.
Yes.
Yeah, but there was no problem. There was no problem. So crisis management is a demonstration of a leader's inner strength. Where are you at? If you do not have that inner strength, then you will panic.
Yes.
And when you panic, you create anxiety, fear in your leaders, in your members. And things can get much worse than they would have been if only you had taken charge and control of yourself. That also, crisis management, that calmness also gives you opportunity to think.
Yes.
When you are anxious, you don't think. No. If you are thinking escape. You're thinking, how do I get myself out of here? And some people have jumped out when they didn't need to jump out. During these fires in California, some people jump out of their windows and actually died. in situations that they should not have jumped. But the panic caused them to jump out of the windows, and some injured themselves and so on. So when you come, you are able to think, what do I do in this situation? What do we do in this situation? And you are able to get ideas on what to do. The other area that inner strength helps in is team empowerment. When a leader has that inner strength, inner stamina, they are not afraid to give other people opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah. Because you are not frightened or scared by the success of others. So you are able to help your team and empower them to do what needs to be done. And that gives you or gives the organization or the team that you are leading an opportunity to explore ways of doing things that possibly you had not thought about. So the empowerment of team members, you then provide them with great encouragement, great motivation, because you're not afraid.
Yes.
Leaders without inner strength, inner stamina, cannot allow others to do what they need to do. One is for fear that they will outshine me. And I think we talked about this a little earlier when we were dealing with other topics. But leaders who have that inner strength, inner stamina, what we call the leadership strength, are not afraid to empower others to do what they need to do.
Yes.
They are not afraid to upskill people, give them skills development that would put these people in the place where they can accomplish their tasks better. And that again brings better outcomes, gives better success, because your people are able to operate at a higher level.
Yes.
But when you do not have that, then you do not want to equip people. And again, like I said, we mentioned it earlier, but again, this belief in yourself, belief in your capacity, belief that you can do it, releases you to allow others also to thrive and to practice and to put into use the skills that they have. And those who don't have, you give them opportunity to grow and sharpen their skills.
Yes.
So this inner strength that we are talking about today in leadership strength is so very critical, because it is what then will lead you into greater performance. The performance outcomes for leaders with that inner strength is definitely much higher than those people who are fearful, people who are afraid to take risks, people who are afraid to move forward, people who are always second guessing situations. They cannot go far, especially in a foggy environments.
Yes.
In foggy environments, they will not go very far.
Yes.
Let me talk about something that we have kind of alluded to, but worthy of mentioning. Inner strength, leadership strength, also helps in risk taking. And I mentioned a bit of it when we were introducing President Trump in this conversation.
Yes.
Some of the things that he's doing are very risky. And yet, because of that inner strength, belief in himself, he says them almost casually, but people take him seriously. And because he has demonstrated that he can do extraordinary things, people do not want to second guess him.
Yeah.
Yeah. When he says it, they just like, this guy can do it. You know?
Yeah.
So it sends a message to people who are around you, whether they are your team members or your stakeholders, that when you say things, when you take actions, you are ready to take risks, no matter what the outcomes will be.
Yes.
And that as a double is like a double effect on people. People who like you and who will benefit from your actions are very happy
And celebrate.
and celebrate because you are a Moran. You can go and kill the lion on our behalf.
Yeah.
You know, and so we will see where lions are and send you there to go and deal with the lions. And so you find it builds a lot of confidence and a lot of courage in the followers, people who believe in you. You will find that people are coming to you with situations that are impossible, but they believe you can tattoo them, you can deal with them.
Yes.
The giants out there called David, you know, and they will deal with this situation.
Yes.
So it gives people a lot of confidence in you as a leader. Those people who believe in you and who are going to benefit or who benefit from that courageous outlook and courageous actions. On the other side, there are those people who are, what can I call it, victims, as it were, of your actions,
Yes.
these courageous actions. It sends fear in them. It sends anxiety. It sets them in a place where they are not sure how to act. And that is good in a sense. It is good because people who would have otherwise given you trouble, or people who would have undermined you, or people who would have done whatever, they realize that don't joke with this person. They are crazy and they can do crazy things.
Yeah.
So let's see how to work with them or to avoid them. And so it gives you a lot of latitude to do the things that you need to do as a leader, because your opponents, your enemies become scared of you as a person because of the kind of things that you could possibly do. And we see that already happening across the globe.
Yes.
In this last week, where people are actually afraid, you know, that what Trump might do.
Yeah.
And so what they would then try to do is, how do we collaborate? How do we work together? How do we be on this person's side? And that gives you success, even in things that perhaps you would not have succeeded in. But because you have created that tremor, that you've created that fear in people, and they believe that you can do even the impossible. So if you can't beat them, you join them. So these people that will be their philosophy. Let's see how we can work together. I heard Putin saying, I'm willing to talk with Trump. And we can see how to work out a ceasefire in Ukraine.
Yeah.
A language that was not there before. I mean, he was so defiant. He was so, he didn't care. Even the sanctions that were being pronounced, he didn't care and so on. But now he's talking about, let's discuss. The ceasefire in Israel, in Gaza, it was not happening. But now he's saying, I'm coming and I'm going to do this. And everybody's like, this guy could do something crazy. Let's talk before it happens.
Yeah.
So that fear that it causes in people can work to your advantage. I'm not saying that you become scary as a leader, but we are saying that when people see that you mean what you say and you say what you mean, then they take you seriously and they seek to collaborate and work with you where possible, because they fear that what you might do that could be to their disadvantage. Maybe the last thing I can do, which is related to that, is trust. You know, like a parent that stands with his or her children, especially when there are difficulties or the children are being bullied by neighbors, and the father or mother comes out and stands with the children develop trust in you as a parent, because they know that if I'm in trouble, mommy will come through for me.
Yes.
Daddy will come through for me. But if they are being beaten and you're just watching and you blame them instead, oh, what were you doing there? Why did you do that? And so on. Then they can't trust that you can stand with them and for them when there is trouble. So leaders with stamina and inner strength create trust in their members, that they are able to do what is supposed to be done. And that trust is so important because it brings loyalty to you as a leader from your team members, that they can now look up to you, and knowing that if you give me a task, you have my back covered.
Yes.
And therefore I can also face situation. The example that comes to mind is these men who are called the mighty men of David in the Bible.
Yes.
When they join David's team, they are a dejected lot, the kind of people that you would not recruit in your team. But by the time they are being called mighty men of David, you can see a people who have been developed into mighty warriors. And there is no fear in them. They can go for anything, they can do anything. And that was because they trusted David as a warrior himself who had killed Goliath and who was ready to stand against the Philistines, and they just got that spirit of David into themselves. And therefore, there was nothing that could stand against them. In fact, when you read their exploits, it is amazing. One man fighting hundreds of people and standing his ground until he clears all of them. Just one man with a sword and spear. That is what it does to your team members. The reverse is very devastating. When people know that you are not that kind of a person, they themselves become afraid because they are not sure, if I'm being defeated, what are you going to do? What is going to happen? Yeah, so again, let me pause there, and if there are any comments or questions.
Yeah, trust. Very important. Allow us to sample some of your question and feedback that has come through right here at Hope FM. Listen and Leave is the Leadership Forum. If you want to talk to us, our WhatsApp line is 0717 400 555. That is 0717 400 555.
Question of the day on the Leadership Forum.
We begin with this one, Bishop, who says, Bishop, kindly comment on spouses of men of God interfering with the vision of the church. Now, church here is the organization. Mpaka everyone knows, mama ndiye alisema, mama ndiye aligeuza, mama ndiye alipinga. Mama pastor.
Mama pastor, mama kanisa.
Yes, mama assembly.
Mama assembly.
Yes.
The aligeuza.
Eh.
So what is the question?
Comment on that.
I would say that that is a very common thing, unfortunately, and it shows a lack of leadership within the family and within the organization. First of all, we have said here before that any organization, especially in a church setting, you must have structures, governance structures, so that decisions are collectively made, not individually made. Because mama will interfere in situations where pastor is the one who issues decrees, like the Trump executive orders.
Yes.
Yeah. So if that is the situation you have developed, then mama can interfere or will interfere, because she has access to you back at home in your most vulnerable moments, and she can interfere. Now, what is that you are saying? I don't think that can work, and so on and so forth. So then you have to come and issue a counter decree. If you have established a system of decision making where there's collective decision making, then this will be brought to a board, council, committee, whatever it is that you have put in place. That's a governing structure. So before a matter is brought to the congregation or to the whole church, even if you are talked with mama back at home, you will come to your team and say, here are some thoughts that I would like to consider. And people will discuss, and then there will be a collective decision, So once there is that collective decision, when that announcement is made or that decision is being implemented, it is not the decision of the pastor. It is the decision of the group.
Yes.
And many times it's more difficult to change. You can also go back to mama and say, I met with the council, and this is what the council thinks. Now, we can't go against what the council has said. I appreciate your views and your insights, and I shared with them, and they were given due consideration.
Yes.
And this is where we ended up. It makes it easier even for you as Bwana wa Mama to take charge of that situation.
Yes.
So avoid single person decision making in your church governance structure. Otherwise, that will happen a lot, especially if mama thinks they are more visionary than Baba. Yes. I don't know whether that helps.
Yeah, like have a structure.
Have a structure for decision making.
Even if it's a church, it's an individually owned or founded church.
Even if it is individually founded church, get a structure in place. In due time, get a few people who form the church board, the church council, whatever you call it, and then submit yourself to them.
Okay.
Submit yourself to them. So they are not figurehead. I know some people who create those kinds of boards, but really the decision is still made by the pastor. Then you open yourself up, not just mama. There can be influential members in the congregation who will call you aside and say, Pastor, there's this thing I'm thinking about. That thing you announced, I don't think it will work. No. And they begin to make sense. And then tomorrow you have to make a different announcement. Now, that which I told you, we have now changed. I have now changed.
Yeah.
It becomes very difficult. So what I have found in my short leadership experience is that where there is a good structure of governance, it makes decision-making much easier. And you can hide in quotes behind the team. So that if, say, somebody even influential comes to me as a pastor or as a leader,
yes,
I can tell them, that's a great idea. Let me share it with our team.
Yes.
And hear what they have to say. Do you see?
Yes.
So I go to the team if I think it is something very important, and I don't have to say so and so said, but this idea has come from some people. What do you people think? and we all look at it together, and I can give that person feedback that the board, the council, the committee actually considered the idea, and here are some of the issues that they were not so sure about, and therefore this is how we are moving. You see, it shields you from people thinking you don't listen, we give you ideas and you don't even take them seriously, and so on and so forth. It shields you from a lot, even making tough decisions. You make tough decisions and you can say it is the board that made that decision, it is the council that made. But if you're the one, utachinjwa, you will be
They'll come for you.
you will be slaughtered. Yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sawa. Another listener called Sarah writes and says, I have an inquiry on how to handle leadership transitions. For example, you are serving under a certain leader with a certain vision, and they have to transition either expectedly or unexpectedly. How do you handle the transition to the new leader and new vision when we had already started working on a certain vision? There is a tend to have fear of the unknown.
Tendency.
Yeah.
Okay. This is again a very not unusual thing. It happens quite a bit. Old school leadership transition say that a new leader must come with a new vision. That we call old school. That's how it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how it is supposed to be. New school is that a vision belongs to the organization, not to the leader. The leader can conceptualize and come up with what should be done. And again, where I'm talking about the structure is so important. That vision then has to be sold to the team, and it becomes the vision of the team and the organization. The consequence of that is that even if this leader moves on, that vision carries on. Do you see?
Yes.
Because it has been bought by the team, because the team is not moving on. The team is still on.
Yes.
And they will carry on with that vision. Now, if a new leader comes in, or when a new leader comes in, they may have different perspective. What they do is they sit down again with this team and sell that vision to them. Now it is up to them to see how this fits in with where we were going. And therefore they will shape that new idea within the context of what was already happening. And normally that gives greater stability rather than a new person coming and throwing out everything that was there with the former leader and trying to start something completely new. You will stagnate as an organization. You will stagnate as an institution, because it means that every new person who comes with a new thing, new ideas, new direction, and you can't go far. One of the fears, I can say at a personal level, that I have had with the executive orders that the new president of US is giving, is he is here for only 4 years. How many of these are sustainable beyond his 4 years? That's something that as a leader he needs to consider. How many of these things that I'm doing can be bought into by the next leader so that they are sustained for the long term, not just for the 4 years I'm a leader. Because some of them, in my view, are so radical that it's very unlikely that the new leadership, the new dispensation will carry on. And then it is a waste of time and resources, because it takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot of resources, it takes a lot of campaigning to win people to your side, to carry on with your vision, than that you do not want it to die with you. You do not want it to be short-term.
Yeah.
You want to create a vision that is long-term and that will be your legacy even into your old age, even long after you are gone. You can look back and say, I started that and it is moving on. So short-term actions sometimes are create a ripple, but it does not sustain for a long time, and in my view, is not worth it. Some leaders like those kinds of things where you come in and stir up the waters and cause
100
people
days,
to know.
Bishop.
Yes, 100 days is important, but those 100 days must be on. You remember when we talked about 100 days?
Yes.
100 days cannot be on long-term issues. They have to be on short-term issues.
Yes.
Yes. Because you need time to actually think through. Now, I would say that in the case of Trump, his 100 days can also be on long-term issues because he was there before.
Yes, he knows.
So he knows how the organization, if we use that word, runs and works.
Yes.
So he's not a totally new leader in the leadership. So he can actually do that. But the long and short of what we are saying is, don't just throw away things for the sake of throwing them away. Transitions are great opportunities for changing direction, for exploring new opportunities and so on. And that must be done. But let it be done in the context of shared leadership.
Yes.
Where there's a team that is running with it. And where teams are strong, you can see the stability, irrespective of which leader comes. It's like the old KBS. You go to bus station, the driver and the conductor leave, a new driver and conductor comes, and you are sure they're taking you to where you are going. That's how it should be.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Achieng is writing and listening to us from Westlands. Thank you so much for listening and seeing. Just a quick question, Bishop. How long should the leader take to make an impact, in brackets, changes, especially after joining a new role in another organization? Should it be instant or wait a while?
It is both. And actually, we have kind of answered it, that question. We have said in the first 100 days, you want to make yourself felt by taking decisive actions on primarily short-term issues, things that can be corrected immediately and help people to face the right direction and so on. Long-term issues, you need time. You need time to understand the organization. You need time to understand your role. You need time to know where things are moving so that when you make changes that have impact and that are in line with what is going. Some people have gone into organizations and they make changes radically only to find that what they were changing actually was important. And sometimes they have to eat humble pie and go back to that which they had said was useless. Yeah. So it is both.
Christian circles, they would tell such kind of a leader, back to sender.
Back to sender, yeah. If you are able to. Sometimes it is not.
Kimoyo, Bishop.
Kimoyo, yes.
Let's tackle one more. As somebody had written to us regarding the topic we dealt with last time on failure. This one, she said, okay, it's a he or a she. Either the listener says they were learning a lot. On point number 2, where we talked about believing that God has a purpose when it comes to failure. Could purpose be to teach us a lesson? If yes, why would God use a harsh, tough, painful thing like failure to make a point to someone he loves?
Okay. Yes, we when we're talking about the failure, we talked about 7 ways to deal with failure. And one of them was actually that issue of believe God could have a purpose. Now, God's ways are not our ways. God's ways are not our ways. And in fact, that's something I've just been reading recently in the book of Acts and Romans, where Paul actually talks about the ways of God that are unsearchable. And there's a place where it says that even Pharaoh was raised for this purpose. And his heart was hardened for this purpose. And Paul then goes on, if that's the case, some of you may ask, then why does God blame us?
Yeah.
If I'm just fulfilling his purpose. You see, God sees our lives from a very broad perspective, from the beginning to the ending. And so there are things that we are going to make us stronger. There's this illustration that has been used in the metamorphosis of a butterfly at the pupa stage. For it to come out of that stage to become a butterfly, it has to struggle. And it has been said that there was this child who saw the butterfly struggling to come out of that pupa and decided to help it and remove it. And it never developed the strength of the wings that could make it fly. So part of the purpose of that struggle out of the pupa is to strengthen the wings that it comes out a beautiful butterfly that flies.
Yeah.
Why God made it that way, we don't know, because he is God. So there are situations that actually is only years later when you look back and you say, if I had not gone through that experience, I perhaps would not have gone through this experience or developed the skills or strengths that I have right now. So God has a purpose, even those bad things. For he makes all things to work together for the good of those people who love him.
Amen. A good point to make a prayer.
Thank you. We thank you, Father, for giving us opportunity to have this discussion on leadership. And just where we have ended, there are sometimes we get into situations where we can't understand what you are doing with our lives. But one thing we do know, that our lives are in your hands. And this afternoon, as we close this program, I want to pray for each and every one of us who is in any position of leadership. And we are going through challenges, difficulties, and certainties. The Lord, you'd give us that inner strength, inner stamina, that we can be able to bear with every situation and make the right decisions that would set us on the path of success. So be with us as we begin this year, for we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Bishop, and God bless you. That's all we had for you in the Leadership Forum today. Remember to catch a repeat of this program on Saturday at Hope FM from 7 a.m. anytime at the Hope FM podcast, and of course at Hope FM Live on YouTube and Facebook. My name is Grace Matisa. Next week, we get to meat of the word. We go to Galatians chapter 3. So be reading so that when we meet here next week, you'll have great questions on any portion you do not understand. Have a blessed afternoon. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you for tuning into the Leadership Forum. Join us again on alternate Mondays for deeper insights on leadership. The Leadership Forum, discussing leaders and followers.